Take one. Hey, Today we're going to be having a look at the Sunsava. Stand by. This is the Sunsava. This is an Australian made, Australian designed, spin it down a little bit, stop slow back umbrella. It's came out of necessity for all those traffic controllers who stand on the road out in the middle of nowhere, often doing high speed works for regional highways and motorways, and you know, where we can do stop slow because the traffic volumes aren't that high, and even some more less regional work, but you know, where you are standing on the bat all day and there's no tree, there's no shade, you know, you can't get a tent out there or anything else to stand under, and if you don't have the option to go with a portable traffic control signal set or a porta boom or something similar, then you're sort of screwed. Yeah, you can wear a hard hat and you'll have your brim, your employer will have uniform guidelines, so you're wearing long sleeves and long pants, you know, and they're all great, and they stop you from getting sunburn and those sorts of things, but it doesn't address the heat issue. There's a bunch of novel products out there at the moment. Some of them are chamois sort of products, and you wet them and you wrap them around your neck under your shirt. I think you can get a vest as well. It's got the material inside, and the water evaporates out of that really quickly, so it's got this cooling effect on the side of it that touches you. It's actually a pretty cool product. But those sorts of products are only going to help you once you're already hot. The idea behind this is that it will provide you shade so that it avoids you getting too hot in the first place. Look, if you're a resident of planet Earth like I am, you're aware of that big burning ball that we call the sun. The sun throws out all sorts of radiation everywhere, and we get a small portion of that because we're in its path. Sun, us, radiation. Now, a lot of that radiation, or some of that radiation, is incredibly helpful to us as mammals with skin. Our skin needs a particular level of UV rays to be able to transform that into vitamin D, which we need to live healthily. The rest of the UV spectrum is quite damaging. That's what causes sunburn and skin cancer and melanoma and those sorts of things. There's also the whole visible light section, which is really helpful when you want to see your way around during the day. That's a helpful spectrum. The heat component, though, comes from the infrared spectrum. So you've got, we can throw up a chart. You've got the visible light section, and then above that, so above the violet end of the visible light spectrum, we have ultraviolet above violet, and there's UVA, UVB, UVC. Most UVC is filtered out through our atmosphere. Much of that does not reach us standing on the surface. UVA, UVB, they're the ones that cause issues, and they can both cause life-threatening skin cancers, not to mention premature aging, skin damage, and all sorts of other issues associated with too much UV sun. Visible light spectrum gives us white light, which is then that shines down on us roughly 12 hours of every day, gives us daytime. It's pretty cool. And then below that visible light spectrum, there's the infrared spectrum of lights that come to Earth. Now again, a lot of that is filtered out. But infrared by nature is the thing that heats up objects, and heats up you, and heats up the clothing that you're wearing and the road, and different materials will absorb that heat in different ways. So if you are standing on a road and you reach down and you touch the road and it's a bright sunny day, the road will be a lot hotter than your skin will be, or than your shirt or your hard hat. The reason for that is that, black absorbs heat, and the resonant frequency of the infrared rays that's hitting it enable it to heat up. So the black absorbs more of that infrared light, whereas the white lines on the road, they're white, so they reflect a lot of that infrared. Now that's why we wear light clothing, light coloured clothing in a lot of cases. Like guys aren't out there wearing, or traffic controllers aren't out there wearing black shirts or anything like that, because it absorbs too much of that infrared radiation and creates too much heat. So the only real way to look at avoiding infrared as a source of heat is to provide yourself with shade. I've seen a lot of solutions where there's a little, the little 4-poster tents, or even one job that we did out west in Queensland, we provided the guys a little 1 by 1 square metre tent. I think it was a shower tent that we could just peg to the ground. And that's not ideal, because when you're standing in it, it's got 3 sides. So you're standing in it, you kind of got to poke your head out to have a look, and motorists can't see you, workers can't see you so as easily. So in an ideal world, you want to be standing out in the open, but you want to be covered from the top to stop that radiation from hitting you in the first place. And that was the motivation for a chap by the name of Len Derrick. He's in WA, retired now, but a civil contractor, used to do a lot of traffic control on his own civil jobs. Having been involved in the industry, acutely aware of the issues that are being experienced by traffic controllers. So he thought, what can we do about this? Anyway, after a bunch of experimenting, a number of prototypes, he's come up with the Sunsava. Now the Sunsava is exactly what it is that you see here. It is a umbrella. It is an aluminium framed, this is aluminium tube. There is a cross structure with a center hub and what appears to be a stainless locking T-nut in the middle, or locking bolt in the middle. It is orange on one side, or amber on one side, yellow on one side, and it is red on the other. The idea is that you line up the red with the red of the stop slow back. So when you're standing under it, you look up and you can see, you just line that up, eyeball the edge, and you tighten up. So when you're standing under it, you line up the red, because you can see underneath, it's all the same colour underneath. You line up the red and you know that you're showing stop. When you swing it around and you look up and it's on yellow, you know that you're showing slow. Very straightforward. Cracker idea. This panel in the middle, it's kind of it's a woven textile of some description, very well stitched all the way through, seamed really well. It does have a vinyl backing on it to give the stitching loops some strength, same in the centre. Guess by the time you get some eyelets through there and get some tension on them when you bring them onto the frame, there's going to be a bit of load on that fabric. Everything is welded, all the joins are welded together. I suspect reasonably labour intensive to be making these by hand, but it's a really solid bit of construction. I really like it. When this arrives, it comes fully assembled. So you got the umbrella in a box, and you have the handle comes in its own box. Now, the Sunsava product comes with this handle. It is an aluminium tube. You can see here it's got an end cap on it. There's a slot cut in the end of the tube. It's all been welded and ground up there. Bolts, they're probably a M8 bolt with wing nuts, all stainless, so they don't so they don't corrode or rust on you. The other end has this sleeve in it, so this is a bit of round stock. Looks like it's been turned and machined to fit into the end of that tube, and then again it's been welded and ground down. Now there's a hole in there. That hole is designed for an extension piece. An extension piece, if you're a tall person, it's only, I don't know, that'd be what, 210 mil? And this also comes with it. So obviously line up the holes, you stick that through, and then that gives you another 210 mil. Now this bat that comes with it isn't telescopic, but it is the correct size for the Sunsava umbrella. The idea is you take your existing bat, you take the head off the adapter of your existing bat, you take these nuts out, you slide your bat in, you drill 2 holes, you put the bolts back in, and you tighten up the wing nuts, and you're done. And then you can slide the Sunsava on and off. So if you end up on night shift, obviously you take it off. If you're on day shift, you'd leave it on. If the wind picks up, you'd probably take it off. You know, or for any other reason where you might consider it to be unsafe. When you pop this blue bit off here, which I was able to do by hand before, but can't do it on demand, obviously. But if you take this blue piece off here, you can actually slide this section out of the top, and then you put the Sunsava on and you tighten it around the metal connector that goes between the stop slow bat and the extension pole. And then you slide it back together and you tighten it up and you're done. Really not that complicated. I thought originally that the Sunsava bat or staff was provided because you couldn't retrofit your existing one. I was stoked to see that I could just use that and put it in here, and then at the end of the day I can shorten it down and stick it in my car. I think it's an excellent idea. It's very well executed. You know, the quality of work on here is actually really good. I'm quite impressed. These are for sale. These are for sale via the website. I'll put a link in the show notes below. Honestly, Len got in touch with me and sent me this and said, "Hey, can you do a review on it?" Of course I can. It's a cracker idea. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of traffic controllers standing out in the sun every day. So let's have a proper look, see if we can do something and get this out to a bunch of people for them to at least have a think about, if nothing else. Main Roads WA that manages the northern section have agreed to get them out on trial up there, which is outstanding. The feedback from the traffic control companies, or the guys and girls that are using this every day, the feedback's been outstanding. Like it's really one of, what a really clear, simple idea. Why haven't we been doing this for years? Previously, the thought of standing there on a stop slow bat with an umbrella in your hand is a ridiculous thought. But when you combine the two like this, that ridiculous thought becomes it's ridiculous that we haven't done it before. If we're not taking steps to protect ourselves against heat, it's going to be an issue for us this shift. So if you're covered up and you're wearing your sun cream and you're drinking plenty of water and all of those things that you need to be doing, your glasses to protect your eyes, you've got your hat on, your thingies on, and long pants, long sleeves, all that sort of stuff, but you're standing out in the sun every day, you're still at very high risk of heat exhaustion. And heat exhaustion leads to heat stroke, which is purely due to heat because you're already protected against all the UV stuff. I think we need to be doing a little bit more in that space to protect our guys that are standing out there on the road from heat rather than just from sunburn and the UV component of the sun's radiation. This is a cracker idea. It allows people whose job it is to stand on the side of a road in the sun all day, you know, with their fatigue breaks and that sort of stuff, but predominantly on the road all day, to be afforded another layer of protection. They're made in Australia at the moment in WA. Len is shipping countrywide. I'd really be interested to find out what the guys up north in Queensland would think of an idea like this. I understand you guys have got a heap of hinterland up there, but you've also got a heap of real flat, sunny spots. And I know you do a bucket load of work out there. What do you think? I'd be really keen to find out what you guys think. And before anyone shoots their mouth off about how shit it is, I would encourage you to get a hold of one and get it out on trial for a couple of days on one of your work sites that is subject to that sort of sun exposure all day. You know, it's really easy for everyone to sit back and go, nah, shit, never going to happen, not going to work. Our industry is really good at that sort of stuff. It'll be good for a few companies out there to go, hey, not a bad idea. Let's invest a couple of $100 and grab a couple and see what the feedback is actually like, some objective feedback from your staff. Any comments, leave them below. Any questions, leave them below. Len, really appreciate you sending this through. Mate, I'm really well impressed. It is a very well made bit of kit. After a chat with Len as well, he is also happy to sell this separately to the handle, so you don't need to buy the handle if you want to retrofit this onto your existing stop slow back handle. Brilliant idea. I challenge you to go and get a few and trial them out on your work sites out west, up north, anywhere where you've got traffic controllers that are standing all day in the sun and unable to get away from it because that's their control point. This gives them an option to be able to remain protected throughout the day. Look, I think that's enough from me. Guys, everybody stay safe out there. Really appreciate you coming back to have a look at the Sunsava this week. Sunsava, SUNSAVA products.com. Again, I'll put that link down below, and really appreciate you tuning in. If you've got any ideas of other products out there that you've seen or heard about that you'd like us to have a look at, drop us a comment below and I'll see what we can do. Really appreciate your time. Thanks, guys. Brilliant product.